So in Albania, we were charged with starting a high school for the local Albanian students, a Christian school. And we arrived at the beginning of August in order to have about a month of preparation time.
Kind of learned to go with the flow and learned that, there was never anything that was off the table. Like, you could be asked to do almost anything. And so it was really a stretching experience, but it was also really formative in that I learned a lot about how to do things, and be flexible at the last minute.
That sense of just kind of anything goes, or, you make what you can out of a situation, that very much became not only a theme of how things work in Albania, but how things work in the school, just because there wasn't these borders and expectations that were clearly defined. It was kind of like, you make what you can and work with the connections and the boldness that you have in order to make things work.
Oftentimes, I didn't really know what the day would hold. I didn't know if there was going to be an interruption or if we were going to have a new student in the class, but I just kind of went into each day with this knowledge that I was here for a reason. And even on the days where it was really hard to get out of bed, I would just tell myself, you're here for the kids, you're here to build relationships with them, just go and be present.
I learned very quickly that God works both through us and uses our gifts, but he also works oftentimes despite us. And sometimes our humanness and our weakness should have gotten in the way, and it seemed like it was going to, but God always came through, and I always trusted that he would come through.
Throughout all of it, I felt this strong sense that I was supposed to be there, and I felt a strong calling to come back the second year. And really knowing that and knowing that God was using me, even when I couldn't see it or couldn't tell, was what kept me going. It ended up being a really, really rewarding experience that I wouldn't trade for anything, despite the challenges that I met while I was there.
I had a very clear sense of call, and that I had no doubt every day that what I was doing is, working towards building the school and building relationships with students and trying to impact people for Christ in the way that he had called me to do. And so there was just an assurance and a peace, even though things were sometimes difficult and hard work, that I was where I was supposed to be. And it was wonderful to have that sense of defined call, and your life is just kind of all wrapped up around the school.
One of the things that I've learned is that even if what God is calling me to seems really scary or like something that I don't want to do, in the end, it's always better to do it. Not because it'll be easy, but because I know that I will be a better person when I come out of it. And I will be more Christ-like. I will be more transformed into that person that God is calling me to be, and that there are gifts there, even in the mess. And those gifts help outweigh everything else that you could be experiencing.
My experience is a reminder that, this is all brought together by God, and it's all a part of his bigger plan. And ultimately, that plan is to bring him glory. And so that sense of perspective is probably the biggest fruit from my time in the tranSend.